What's up, everybody? Another edition of Out of the Blind podcast. This is Gabe Spencer, back at it again. So another episode, knocking these down. It's getting to be fall in the air, so we're getting excited about that. We got duck season around the corner. I think we're, 12 days out. So we're getting pretty pumped up about that. 12, 13 days, I don't know, but it's right around the corner. First off is this episode is brought to you by Tabacco Saddle. So these guys reached out to me. It's been a couple, probably 3 weeks ago. And, I have a lot of different places that reach out and try to throw some stuff on the podcast and different stuff. And I'm like, I'll check it out. And they had some hats and some different, some hoodie. And I was like, well, send it in. And, I was like, well, we'll see what they got. Well, when they sent it in, I was kind of impressed. And I got it on. I'm kind of sporting it right now. And this is probably the coolest, kind of hoodie I've put on in a while, and it's really super soft, feels kind of like panties a little bit. Not that I wear that, but it's different, a little different. So you guys make sure to check them out. You can go on Instagram. That's where I found them. It's called Tabacco Saddle. So not sure the origination of the name, but it's pretty cool. They've got some really nice stuff on there. You can go. I think you can just order right there online, and they'll ship it right to you. They're up. I think it's all made in USA type stuff. So pretty cool. So definitely check those out, Tabacco Saddle. So appreciate the gifts here to the podcast, and figured I'd throw you guys on there. So, but this episode is a really interesting episode, and I'm really excited to do this one. We had a couple little technical difficulties because we've been doing these. Collecting interesting people, not collecting them like putting them in a cage and putting lotion on the skin type collecting, but we've been able to kind of do this via Zoom, via some technology, via some rigging, and making it happen. Where we still have decent audio, good audio, and there's video here as well. So, I ran across this guy on Instagram, which I'm always on Instagram. If you guys follow me there, it's gspencer_1. I'm always on there with duck hunting stuff, and you can follow Out of the Blind on Instagram and Kimber Creek Media and all that type of stuff. You can follow us all there. But as I kind of, I don't know if you'd call it surf through it or pilfer through, the pages of Instagram, you run across interesting things and interesting people. And I started following this guy kind of halfway through or maybe a quarter way into his journey. And this guy, I'm just going to introduce him. Ethan, tell me your last name again. Ethan. So I said
Ethan Gullerud.
Ethan Gullerud. So yep. Ethan, he paddled the entire Mississippi River. Oh, were you in a canoe?
Yeah, I was in a 15-foot Coleman canoe.
So it's not even like that's not even like a specialty canoe, is it? It's just a canoe, right?
No, just a cheap canoe. Just
a regular old canoe. And you started. I remember, so I went back and I went through your Instagram story. I'm like, how did this guy start? So I went all the way to the back to the front, and you're like in a Clearwater Creek.
Yeah.
Right? Like how wide was that creek?
At the start, it starts at Lake Itasca State Park in Minnesota, and you can walk across it. It's like 10 feet across in some places, a couple inches deep.
What in the crap? And so you took it from that small tributary to the Gulf of Mexico, right?
Yep. Yep. So,
I mean, like, you talk about nuts. I mean, tracks in the sand type nuts. I mean, it's just, to do something like that is a feat in my mind. So I've got to ask you, why? I mean, why? Just because?
Yeah, I've always kind of wanted to do it. I guess, I love canoeing. I love being in the outdoors. And I grew up kind of close to the river, and just the idea that you could take that thing to the ocean always kind of intrigued me.
Yeah, I bet. And so along your journey, I watched a lot of different things. I watched a lot of different things. Like you had some mishaps, and you probably didn't even record everything. But so, what time of year? Because it took you how many days? 93?
92 days.
92 days.
So I left on July 20th, and then I finished on October 19th.
So give me your first gear pack out list. Like, was it a big, crazy list?
when I definitely overpacked when I started.
Yeah.
I had, I didn't have too much extra stuff. I had like tent, clothes, food, water, um, some solar charging stuff, but I definitely packed too much food, too much water,
Really?
which was that was pretty much the bulk of the weight of my canoe. I probably had like close to 150 pounds of gear, and a lot of that was food and water.
Wow. Wow. And so did you eventually run out of food and water and then just worked your way through? I mean, what'd you do?
No, I had a 7 gallon jug for water, and then I had like another gallon jug that I just used as a water bottle.
Okay.
But there's state parks, campgrounds along the way that I would refill. And for food, I would take a lot of canned goods, which I had a pretty big tote that I put all my food in, which could last me easily over a week at a time.
Wow. Wow. So and to re up on stuff, would you just stop along the way, I guess, or did you? I know at one
Yeah,
point,
yeah, pretty much.
I think at one point I saw where you said like you forgot to you would forget to take your like life jacket off, and you walked into some places and people looked at you
Oh
funny.
yeah, yeah. I mean that was probably easily a month into the trip where I just stopped caring that I looked like a homeless guy on the river.
Right.
So I'd be wearing dirty clothes, wearing a life jacket, wearing
It's like
an
whatever.
old hat.
Now you
Yeah. Yep.
just I mean a lot of weather delays? Was there a lot of like did you experience I mean were you just camping on this I guess just every night you just camp on the river?
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. So in northern Minnesota, the DNR has campsites set up,
Yeah.
pretty much down to the Twin Cities, and then after that, you're just looking for islands and I guess sandy riverbanks.
Yeah.
I would always try to go for the islands. I like to stay as far away from people as possible.
Yeah.
Just if there's no people, there's no risk of anything happening.
Right. Did you I mean along the you know I've went out into the wilderness a lot. Like I've been out off the grid. And I guess Mississippi
Mhm.
River you're not really off the grid, right? I mean you've got probably cell phone
Not,
service most of the time.
yeah, there were only a handful of nights that I didn't have any cell phone service.
Yeah.
But usually there's towns relatively close. There were a couple of stretches I'd go like 3 or 4 days without seeing anybody.
Really?
But there's out, yeah. Um, I guess the from Lake Itasca to probably Bemidji, I didn't see another person.
Wow.
But still, if I needed to, I could have hiked into a town pretty easily.
Yeah. How many miles do you say you would could cover in a day?
It really varied. Like up north, the water was so low, and this was the lowest water level that they've seen in like 120 something
Wow.
years. So it's I don't know if anybody's ever canoed it in this low of water, but it was really slow at first. I'd be on the water for like 10 hours and I'd do 10 miles.
Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah, so it was really slow going. Then you get down to southern Minnesota and you could do 20 to 30 miles. And then I guess past St. Louis, the current picks up and you can do like 45, 50 miles easily.
Really? So you could cover
Yeah.
some ground.
Yeah. Yeah. Down there, it's not even really about the paddling. It's just how long you're willing to be on the water. The current will help you out so
Does most of the
much.
work.
Yeah.
Wow. That's insane, man. Like and so you would camp out at tent, hammock, like or both or like
I started with a tent and I picked up a hammock in St. Louis. By that time, my tent was in pretty bad shape. I got like a really cheap one from Walmart. And by the time I got to St. Louis, it had holes in it. The poles were snapped and held together by duct tape. It was pretty rough. So I got a hammock.
I hope you didn't throw that away.
The tent, I threw it away after the trip. I kept it. There were a couple nights where I had to use it down south. I threw that thing away.
Dude, you should
There's
have
so
kept
many.
that tent, man.
It was so gross.
It's like a
It smelled so
souvenir.
bad. There were the walls of it were just covered in dead mosquitoes and dead flies.
Oh, I bet like that was just a. So did you? I mean, did you carry fishing gear?
For a little bit in Minnesota, but I probably fished maybe 3 or 4 days, but it would slow me down so much.
Oh, really?
Like yeah,
I figured you'd just like throw a line out and just drift down there, catch you some catfish, and maybe eat that. But
it would have been a lot of fun. But at that point, the miles were more important to me. I
just
think.
trying to get through it.
Yeah.
Was there a point in those travels where you were like, "Screw this, you're gonna tap out"?
No, I don't think I ever thought about quitting.
Yeah.
The nice thing is that the hardest part was getting through like the first couple of days.
Yeah.
Just because of how slow it went. So after that, anything that came at me, I was just like, well, it's not as bad as what I've already been through.
Yeah, it's just going to get bigger and faster, further you get into it. Yeah, that's, I mean, it was just such an interesting thing that you did. And I mean, I don't know anyone else that's done that. I know a lot of guys that kayak. I know a lot of guys that go offshore in kayaks. But this was just like, I was just intrigued. I was on there every day, like, where's he at? What's going on? Where is this sucker at? And then, I mean, did you run across any weirdos? There had to have been weirdos on the Mississippi River.
There were a couple. Yeah. I didn't really stick around too much, but it seemed like for the most part, they all had good intentions, like offering to help and stuff. But
like, what were they doing?
Just hanging out by the river, sometimes on boats. I guess just people who live on the river.
Like river hobos?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my gosh! Do you stop and talk to
them? A couple of them. Like there were some guys. So in I think it was New Madrid. I think it's in Missouri. I was meeting some people there who were gonna help me get some water. So I stopped at like a boat ramp, and this guy came down to start talking to me, and he looked like he lived on the river. Like he looked like what I imagine I would look like if I did this trip every year for like the next 30 years. Like
holy crap.
He had a huge knife and a duct tape sheath sticking out of his pants. And he's like, he came down and he's like, "Are you looking for me?" And I was like, "I don't think so. Are you looking for me?" He's like, "I don't know. Do you need help?" And I mean, he seemed like a nice guy, but I was already there to meet some people. So I didn't take him up on his offer.
What was he offering? He just offering you help?
Like yeah, he was like, "Yeah, I live on the river here. I can take you to town if you need me to." So I don't know. I guess
that's kind of wild.
Him and his friends, I guess, live on the river and help people out on the river.
I mean, Mississippi. I mean, I didn't realize that there was. That's just wild, man. I just knew that I was like, I mean, I know what kind of weirdos and weird people and strange cats that I go in. We travel during duck season a lot. I mean, 8,000, 9,000 miles. And just the weird people that we encounter. That I'm like, holy crap, what in the crystal meth is going on here? But a lot of them are at gas stations is where I run across.
Oh, yeah.
That's where the weird ones are. I think it's just like truck drivers but like we, during duck season, we like cover tons of miles, on a lot of public ground. And my biggest fear is I'm going to run across somebody that lives out there, like off the grid, some kind of like backwoods hobo, like deliverance type stuff. And so that's why I was like, dude, I bet you this guy's like, he's had to have encountered something wild. But like any run-ins, like any weird animals, like snakes. I know there's snakes all over that damn river.
I saw snakes. I don't know. I saw a handful in Minnesota.
But there's no poisonous snakes in Minnesota, is there?
There's not. I think there's rattlesnakes in southern Minnesota, but you won't really run into any. I saw some snakes down south. I don't think they were poisonous, but I didn't really mess with them.
There's a pile.
Familiar.
There's a freaking pile down there. You start getting into like, any like especially Louisiana. Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. But so one thing that I did notice on there that was one was pretty awesome, and I've been telling this story to people, and I may have been telling it wrong, but I but my story was really good, and I may have stretched it, but I may not have. So I want to definitely clarify this with you because it's firsthand. So at one point I saw where either you had to go to the bathroom, but you lost your canoe.
Oh, I didn't lose my canoe, but there were rumors. So I had
So
I'd
you
been
didn't lose
posting
your canoe?
online. No, I didn't. So
I thought you did.
this story, I mean, it's kind of crazier this way, I think. But I had been posting about the trip, and sometimes I make dumb, funny videos when I get bored.
Right.
And I guess a long running joke on that I would be posting was that I was trying to get sponsored by Applebee's going down
That's
the
what I was
river.
saying. I said the dude
So
from Applebee's flew in on his float plane and brought
so
you to. That's what I've been telling
so
everybody. I'm a liar.
Well, I made a post where I was like, yeah, guys, I lost my canoe, and then I was like, oh, I guess I'll put a message in the sand for help. But I just wrote Applebee's in the sand, so I figured people would get the joke, like, oh, he's just making a joke about Applebee's. But so many people, I don't know if they just didn't watch the whole video or they just didn't get it. But they, so yeah, a lot of people thought that I lost my canoe, which kind of turned into a little bit of a thing out there. There actually were a couple of people who did lose canoes, so maybe that's why people believed it.
Yeah, because I was like,
actually right around the same time.
Yeah, because I've been telling people, I'm like, so he went out. I think he was taking a leak, and he went and he came back, and his canoe was floating down the river, and so the dude that owns Applebee's saw it and took his float plane out there and landed and picked him up and took him back to his canoe. That's what I've been telling people.
So when
it sounds good,
right around that time, when I stopped to make that video, I was just hanging out on an island because there were a couple of other canoers who were behind me, and I was waiting for them because I wanted to paddle with them for a little bit. And one of these guys was canoeing with this program where he was sponsored to do it. He was meeting sponsors along the way. And one of the sponsors had a little plane, and he came out and landed on the river to meet this guy and bring him breakfast. So that's what I took the video of the plane and just went with it.
That's awesome, dude. It's like, I mean, you had me. I mean, I made it sound like you were in like dire straits, and basically like it was an episode of Naked and Afraid, and you were in it, and that you had lost a canoe and you're done for. And then lo and behold, the angel from Applebee's shows up in his plane. That's how I painted the picture. So
that would have been a better story.
Hey, that's what I've been telling people. I won't tell them any different.
Yeah.
I don't care. Whatever. But yeah, so I mean, it was just like I saw this and I was like, God, I got to talk to this guy. You know, so I watched you go. I think I started picking you up about maybe about a few weeks before you got, maybe a couple weeks before you went through Nashville. Okay. Not Nashville. Where are the Big Bass Pro Shop? Memphis.
Yeah.
Memphis is where I saw you because I saw the Big Bass Pro Shops and I was like, oh, that's badass. I know where that's at. So I kind of knew where you were. Mm-hmm. And is that spot where it really started? Did you stop at Bass Pro Shops?
No, I didn't. I didn't really stop in any cities. Just I didn't want to abandon all my stuff.
Yeah, don't stop in Memphis. That place is. You would not have had a canoe left. They would have taken it.
Yep.
You know, they always say Superman will fight crime anywhere, but he's not fighting crime in Memphis. That's one of the craziest cities I've ever been in my life. It's crazy. I've only spent 2 days in that place, and it was nuts. And I wasn't even trying to be. It wasn't even supposed to be crazy. It's just, I'm not even going to tell the stories on air because it's that crazy. Yeah. So I watched you go down through Memphis, and that's really where I was like. Now I was really like chiming in, like checking it out every day. From that part in Memphis to the Gulf of Mexico, wasn't it? What did that was that like about a month after that?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So that's the current's pretty strong there. That's where I was doing like 40, 50 miles a day. So I was going pretty fast.
How many miles was it total? Like, what was the total miles?
I think it's estimated to be like just over 2,300.
Holy crap. And so you started this was like, hey, I'm just going to get a wild hair in my ass and we're just going to paddle in the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
Is that how it started?
Much. Well, it's something that I wanted to do for a long time. And I just figured, this is the year. Like if I don't do it now, probably never going to do it.
How old are you now?
I'm 24.
See, that's perfect, man. No family?
Yeah.
No kids?
Nope.
You're going to have some after this. Them ladies going to be knocking it down now. Like, dang. Yeah. Old Rivermaster 3000. Have you picked up any sponsors from this? I mean, has any companies reached out? Bound to.
No, I've actually I tried reaching out to a couple like outdoors places, but nobody wanted to sponsor.
Really? Like before you did it, nobody would want to?
No, even while I was doing it, I was sending out emails, but nobody, like I would get like those automated responses, like we're not taking sponsors at this time,
really?
That kind of thing. Yeah.
I've got a couple contacts. I've been in the outdoor industry for a long time, and so I just met a kayak company. I think they make canoes too, kayaks and stuff. I think they're out of New Braunfels, Texas. I saw some of their stuff. I don't know, that might be something, but I mean, do you do a lot of canoeing now? I mean, have you always done that?
Yeah. Well, this is the first big trip that I've done, and I want to do more. I'm probably going to do next summer. I'll do one.
Have you seen the longest canoe race that they have in Texas?
I don't think so.
So it goes from it's a race, and you should do it 100%. You'd be nuts if you didn't do it, because it goes out of San Marcos, Texas, and I think that's in the what river is that? It's not the Comal. It's I can't remember. But it starts there in right there in like Central Texas, and it goes all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. And I think they give you like a week to do it or something. And some people do it in like 2 days or 3 days, but it's pretty grueling. Like I thought about doing it, but I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, because
do you know how many miles it is?
It's not what you paddled. I know that.
Yeah.
It's not crazy. I thought it was crazy. I want to say it was like 250 miles, which is nothing compared to what you just did. You're like, whatever. I wiped my ass with 250 miles. Like that's nothing. I mean, if we think about it, but you should do that. And it's like a 2-man, I think they got different like classes. Like there's like a single one. And then, hey, I mean, you find you a lady there.
Yeah.
Find one of those ladies, a canoe lady. She likes canoeing, and then she's like, hey, nice canoe. Complimenting on your nice canoe, and then what's up after that? You guys might become like world champion paddlers. So it could happen. But you need to look into that, because I was thoroughly impressed with those, and then with what you do, you would probably win it in like world record time. I think people have done it in like a day and a half or something, 2 days.
What time of the year do they do it?
It's I want to say it's springtime. I don't think it's overly hot, but I do remember them talking about like you have to like what do they call that? Where you pick up your canoe, fording.
Oh, portaging.
Portaging, yeah. I know there's a couple spots like that when the water's low, because it starts off in the Comal River and then goes into the Guadalupe River. I think the Guadalupe River flows somewhere down towards the Texas coast. I don't know if the Guadalupe hits it. It might go to the Colorado, and the Colorado goes in. But they said that like it's pretty gnarly, and there's some snake infested areas, and but I mean they camp out. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. But I know they do it every year in Texas, and it's a big deal. I think they call it the world's longest canoe race or something. I don't know.
Right.
You should definitely. Look into that. I would. My roofing company will sponsor you to do it.
Really?
100%. We will for sure. We will definitely reach out for that.
That would be really cool.
I promise you we will. It'd be a cool deal. We'll get like an accurate Roof Systems wrapped canoe and just be sweet. So, we will for sure do that. But so when you did this, you finished up in Gulf of Mexico. I mean, was it down by Venice?
Yeah. So Venice, is the last town that you can drive to.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll go about 10 more miles to mile marker 0.
Yeah.
And that's at the head of passes. That's where the river splits off into the actual Gulf of Mexico. So I went down the South Pass, which is another 13 miles, and then you'll hit the open Gulf.
Wow. Yeah, I was just in Venice a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and I was thinking about you down there. I was like, man, that's where this guy came. He just came through here, and we drove forever in a freaking with an outboard, and took forever to drive around out there. So, yeah, and so I mean, who picked you up? I mean, how'd you get home?
So there was a fishing charter guy who was also following the trip, and he offered to come pick me up. So that was pretty cool. He actually did it for free.
Wow.
So it was Southern Catch Outfitters down in Venice.
Southern Catch, yeah, I'll have to remember that. You guys check them out. Southern Catch Outfitters, big props to those guys.
Yeah, they had a really nice boat. I think they do like tuna fishing.
Oh wow,
a ton of fish out there.
Yeah, Venice is an awesome place. It was just the hurricane looks like it kind of ravaged it a little bit. We didn't catch crap when we went down there, and besides a buzz from some daiquiris, but that's about all we caught. But it was a good time, and But man, I definitely wanted to reach out to you on this deal, and was like, man, I got to talk to this guy. What's your next? What else can we look forward to? I mean, what else can we? I know, like you said, you're not done. Like, what's like your epic? Is there any other epic ones you're wanting to do?
So I want to do, at the very least, I want to do the Missouri River, and I want to do the Yukon.
Oh,
so
wow.
that'd be the longest 3 rivers in North America. So I don't know. I'm hoping to do one of them next summer, and then I guess probably the other one the summer after that.
Cool. Well, we're definitely going to stay in touch, because I'm going to try to tap into some of my resources and see if I can't, help you out along the way, or, figure out what you need to make some of these things happen, man. And so definitely huge supporter, man, and huge fan on my end. Like, hats off to you, because that's a feat, in my opinion, to be able to do that. I know a lot of grown-ass men that they can't even hang during duck season. And like with this, what you were doing from just, I mean, I'm sure just the weather and the freaking I'm sure you had to just get sick of it. Like just being just dirty all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I really got sick of it. I think more than anything, I got used to it.
Really?
Like couple of weeks without a shower and just stop thinking about it.
Right.
Like,
you just take a bath in the river?
Just becomes normal. Sometimes, yeah.
That's what I'd be doing. I mean, hell.
Yeah.
Mississippi River. It's already dirty. Crazy.
Yeah.
So, well, cool, man. Well, I really appreciate you getting on here. Thanks for getting through some of the technical difficulties with us here in the beginning of the episode here. But man, I look forward to talking to you more. If they can follow you on Instagram, it's spell that out for me. It's
Gullerud's Paddles. So GULLERUDSPADDLES.
Gullerud's Paddles. Check him out. Follow this guy on Instagram. It's great content, great stuff to watch. Go back and watch this stuff. I highly suggest it. It's awesome entertainment. So, Ethan, I really thank you for coming on this episode of Out of the Blind podcast. We will definitely do it again in your future travels. I will definitely be in contact with you down the road. If you guys want to check out more episodes of Out of the Blind podcast, you can check them out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can find normal podcasts or abnormal podcasts. So, anyway, Gabe Spencer, Out of the Blind. We will catch you on the next one. See you guys.